What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my mild spoiler review of Sony's new Marvel movie, Morbius. Now, I have to say, I don't think this movie is as bad as people are saying it is online. Is it a good movie? Not really, not particularly. Is it a terrible, god-awful movie? It's not fantastic, it's not the worst comic book movie I've ever seen, but it doesn't move the needle in any way, shape, or form, and that seems to be the Sony formula, but I will save that for the negatives part of my review, because I do want to talk about some positives. There are some things to really like about Morbius, and one of the main things is Jared Leto as Dr. Michael Morbius. I love the way that he plays the character. The character is this guy who wants to cure his blood disease for himself, for his best friend, played by Matt Smith, and for the rest of the world. This is a guy that was offered a Nobel Peace Prize. This is a guy that's dedicated his entire life to helping people, and Jared Leto definitely does a really good job of bringing that character to life. Something else that I really love about his Morbius was just watching his journey, watching him learn how to use his abilities. You saw it in the trailer where he's like flying in front of the train, like just watching him learn how to use that ability where it feels like he's becoming one with the air itself and he can glide on it. I thought that was something really, really cool. I like the VFX surrounding his flying and his super speed. I love the visual effects around his echolocation. And again, just watching him learn how to use his abilities, it's something that you really, really enjoy in an origin movie. Now, Matt Smith plays Milo / Lucian, who has been his best friend since they were kids. Again, they have the exact same rare blood disease, and Morbius has, again, dedicated his life to try to cure himself, his friend, the world, and I actually bought that friendship. The script takes some time to show us them as kids, where we see them interacting with each other. We see them interacting with each other as adults, and you actually buy the friendship, so when the inevitable betrayal happens, you actually feel the weight of that, and that's something that I actually appreciated with the film. Something else that I really, really liked was the sound design. One thing Sony does really well is their films look really good, and they sound good too. Whenever the bats are flying around, whenever he's flying around, whenever anything's going on, the sound design in this film is actually really, really good. That was something that I really, really appreciated when I saw it in Dolby. I appreciated the sound design a lot. Jared Harris is also in this film. He was the doctor that's been taking care of them. Arjona, I really hope I'm not butchering her name, but she plays Martine, the love interest to Michael Morbius, and that didn't feel forced either. It felt like they were colleagues who worked with each other for years, and she just admires his intellect. And of course, he looks like Jared Leto. How could she not be physically attracted to him? So it didn't feel forced, and it was something that I bought in the film. I had no issues with the relationships, again, with the sound design, with Michael Morbius as a character. But switching to negatives, this is a Sony problem. This is not a Morbius problem or a Jared Leto problem. This is a Sony problem. The executives and the decision makers at Sony, when it comes to the Marvel division, when it comes to comic book movies, they are either lazy or spineless, and either one is absolutely not fucking acceptable. Venom, Let There Be Carnage, this film, these are very safe, fine movies that don't move the needle in any direction. There is nothing that you will get from any of these movies that, you know what, I hope they do this in more comic book movies. I hope we see that in more comic book movies. These films are the safest, most boring, generic, paint-by-numbers movies you could possibly fucking find. And I ask you, executives at Sony, are you really just okay with mediocrity? Are you really okay with just pumping out lazy fucking garbage just to steal money from audiences? Is that really what you're about? Because it's actually fucking pathetic. You've seen the MCU. DC hasn't always made the best films, but they are trying. They are course correcting. You have been making the same mistakes since the late 2000s. It's fucking ridiculous. It's embarrassing. Are you not embarrassed to see the types of reviews that your films get in the Marvel universe? Do you just not fucking care? Clearly you don't, because you just continue making these generic, boring, nothing movies that don't move the needle. It's absolutely fucking pathetic. Another thing, you have a vampire movie with no fucking blood. He takes swipes at people. Lucien takes swipes at people. We can see them biting on their necks. But there's no blood ever. There's just no blood. It is a neutered vampire movie and it makes no sense. It ruins your sense of immersion because no one actually gets torn apart. No one is actually, you don't actually feel like people are being drained of their blood besides when people say they are. In the film, Morbius is constantly drinking this blue blood, right? And it works for me because, again, like I stated before, Michael Morbius is the guy that dedicated his entire life to helping people. Although he turned himself into this vampire to try to cure his disease, he doesn't want to hurt people. So he uses this synthetic blood so that he can try to, turn off the cravings and his instinct to hunt whenever he drinks human blood. And that's the difference between him and Lucien. And I love how the film rides that line. But again, it's so neutered. No one wants to see a vampire movie without blood. We see them biting into people, we see them, and it looks like they could be ripped apart, but nothing actually happens. It's just this really neutered movie where nothing really interesting ever happens. Another one of my issues with this film is the action set pieces, and this is where the comments from the early 2000s keep coming up, because it's just the slow-mo, then you speed it up, the slow-mo, and then you speed it up, the slow-mo, and then you speed it up. It was played out in the 2000s. Why are you still doing this crap? It looks dumb. It doesn't make any sense. I'm so annoyed with the wasted potential of this film. It could have been good. You wasted any part of having great horror elements in this film. There is a hospital like hallway sequence, and you could have played up the horror aspects in that scene and in the entire film, but instead you want to try to make jokes. You want to try to make it serious at times, but also make jokes, and it's like they just don't know what to do. They're not actually trying, and it pisses me the fuck off. Stop with these lazy fucking scripts that don't do anything for audiences. It's pathetic. And then the worst part of this entire film is Sony's need to continuously try to set up the fucking Sinister Six without doing any groundwork whatsoever. You tried to set up the Sinister Six after Raimi's Spider-Man 3. Didn't fucking work because you made a shit movie instead of focusing on a singular movie without trying to set up something else. You went to The Amazing Spider-Man 2, 2 movies into a new universe, and you're instantly trying to set up the Sinister Six. That's one of the many reasons why you failed. You have to live in the moment, make good films, make us care about these characters so that we care when they team up. We also have to understand why they're coming together to go up against Spider-Man. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Let's talk about the end credit scenes of this movie. And I'm going to spoil them. I don't give a shit. They're on the internet anyway. The mid-credit scene is literally Adrian Toomes, Michael Keaton's character, just landing in a cell, and then we hear some voiceover from the news talking about, oh, well, Michael Keaton's character, Adrian Toomes, just came out of nowhere, and it looks like he's going to be released from prison after a court hearing. And then it just cuts to black, and then we get fucking credits. What was the point of that? It makes no fucking sense. And then we get to the very end credit scene where we see Jared Leto driving in a car. We see Michael Keaton's Vulture literally fly in. Where the fuck did he get this suit from? Sony doesn't know because all they care about is setting up the fucking Sinister Six. These people are so incompetent and lazy. It's not even funny. He just shows up in front of Morbius. Hey, I don't know how I got here. I think it has something to do with Spider-Man. And I think a couple of guys like us should team up. And then Morbius is like, intriguing. And I'm like, but why though? Morbius has never met Spider-Man. Morbius is a very good person who forced himself to drink synthetic blood because he couldn't bring himself to harm another human being. And all of a sudden, for the sake of the Sinister Six, he's going to team up with the Vulture and other villains to go after Spider-Man. Why? It doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't. And Sony, I wish that I could actually talk to your executives and just figure out what the fuck is really going on in your minds. Who is this bullshit for? It makes no sense. You're so wrapped up in creating a Sinister Six movie that you can't even fathom making individual movies good. You just want to blow your load and just get to the fucking Sinister Six. And I'm here to tell you, no one gives a fucking shit about your Sinister Six movie. You can't be trusted to make a single good movie. This makes me terrified for Kraven the Hunter. I love Aaron Taylor Johnson. I thought he was absolutely screwed over as being Quicksilver in Age of Ultron, and I think Kraven the Hunter is a great fit for Aaron Taylor Johnson, but it's a Sony Marvel movie. It's just going to be a basic, generic, paint-by-numbers bullshit fucking script that no one's gonna fucking care about. And then you've just ruined another character that you're trying to make a Sinister Six movie from. It's fine. I digress. Sony has been doing the same bullshit for years. They're never going to change until they fire their entire creative department over Marvel and fucking hire me to help them. And I'm going to continue lobbying for your jobs because, again, you idiots are absolutely incompetent and you don't deserve your jobs. You don't deserve to have the opportunity to make this cinematic universe that you want to make so badly because you're not putting in any effort. You're not doing anything to actually make it happen. Again, I digress. I'm going to leave it here. I don't think Morbius is a terrible movie. I think it is a movie that is a wasted opportunity that unfortunately had to be stuck under the Sony banner. It is what it is. It's pretty. It sounds good. Jared Leto's great at Morbius, which is one of the biggest just parts of it that just makes me sick because he's good in the role, but he probably won't get another film. He might not get other opportunities because Sony is just absolutely fucking lazy and they refuse to do anything that moves the needle. I'm going to give Morbius a 2.5 out of 5, and it's really not rewatchable. Go watch some of the scenes on YouTube. Fuck it. I mean, you've pretty much seen most of the entertaining stuff in the trailers anyway, but if you have seen Morbius, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I would love to have a conversation with you guys about the film. We may review it on Villains. I don't see the point of it, but if the rest of the crew wants to do it, sure, I'm down for it. But again, guys, thank you so much for watching this review. Stay tuned for more reviews in the future, and I will see you guys on the next one.